All right, guys, welcome to Monday Morning MMA. Chris Mancuso, Jack Gotsell, and the Bane. Boys, what's going on? How's everybody feeling this morning? Good morning.
Pretty good.
Happy to be here, baby. Got through another weekend successfully, right? Still here, still thriving, Mancuso.
That's right, guys. It's amazing. Monday morning MMA. You know what it's all about? It's all about coffee, eggs, and violence, baby.
Oh, I had cock, eggs, and violence in my notes.
Oh, shit.
Well, I mean,
that's a tough morning right there.
listen, like, I don't want cock with my eggs, but like, hey, if you want that, I mean, we're not against it here at Monday Morning MMA either.
Mancuso takes his cock with his French muffin, not with the eggs. It's a bit of a difference.
Oh, yeah. Use it as a stir stick when you put the creamer in, But guys,
right.
We are here. Episode 1, I gotta say, guys, right off the hop, UFC Vegas 36. He led off the main card. We got to talk about him right off the hop. Paddy the Baddie wins in a hilarious, I mean, it couldn't have been a more Paddy the Baddie personality fight. He comes out, guy's chin's 8 meters above his shoulders, his hands are down, gets rocked early, all of a sudden just storms a comeback, knocks him out, just does what he does, man. Paddy the Baddie is a showstopper. They've been trying to bring him over here for a long time. He knew he wasn't ready. He had to shake up the cobwebs early. But Bane, I'm going to throw this to you first, and then Jack, because Jack, I can just see you. I already know where that's going. That's going to be a Paddy love fest. So first off, we'll bring it over to Bane. Bane, what did you think of that fight?
Yeah, I thought it was a great one. Luigi, the Italian stallion Venturini, is an animal. This kid's got 9 first-round finishes, 9-2 overall. They really didn't match Paddy up with a can. This is a legitimate fighter. And Facts. He proved that, right? He was really nailing Paddy with a ton of good shots, as you mentioned. And, Venturini, sometimes you get clipped, you get caught, and then you get put away. That's just the nature of the beast.
That's the nature of the game, yeah.
And for me, what I have to think about is why Paddy is coming and approaching a guy like Venturini with his hands down, chin up in the air, right? That is a lot of concern moving forward for me as a fan of him. I want him to have success, but lightweight's a killer division, 145 also a killer division with very, very accurate strikers. You are not going to have success against a guy like Edson Barboza, Shane Burgos, if you're approaching the fight with the way that Paddy approached Venturini. Luigi wasn't able to get it done, but I can easily see some guy taking the hype away from Paddy very quickly if he approaches his sophomore outing with that same approach.
Well, speaking of the hype of Paddy the Baddie, I mean, the whispers were there in 2016. They got louder in 2017. The comparisons to Conor McGregor and the way they promote themselves, I think you could make those comparisons. I mean, he's taking over the UFC right when he came in. You saw the Twitter followers, you saw the Instagram followers rise right after Paddy's performance. However, he hates the comparisons to McGregor, and I see why. It's because they're completely different fighters. Paddy is not a one-trick pony. I mean, McGregor, he's going to knock you out, or he's probably going to lose. He doesn't have that submission skills. Paddy, I mean, he's more known for his submission skills, but we saw what he can do. He can still knock you out with the hands, and that's what he did. We were all thinking round one submission. Guess what? Paddy knocked him out in the first round. The kid's got hands too. Paddy's got it all. He can sell fights. He can go in there and he can win. I think Paddy's going to keep on winning, and I think the UFC is going to keep on promoting him. I think he is the new cash cow in the UFC.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, lad. He's the new cash cow, lad. I love that. That was hilarious. And then the best was when he said, I'm a Scouser. Scousers don't get knocked out. That was the best. Just right out of Liverpool. He's, in my opinion, he's like the 5th Beatle for Liverpool. I think he can be that big, but
he's bigger than the Beatles, lad.
He's bigger than the Beatles, man. They didn't have the same impact.
The Beatles were bigger than Jesus, and Paddy Pimblett's bigger than the Beatles now. No, he was massive, man, and that was a hilarious. It was just a total Paddy the Baddie fight. It set up the hilarious thing. I was glad that he did eventually get his call out of Instagram. Told them, give me my account back, you lizards. And now his account has more followers than the original account, so I don't think he's too mad at them anymore, Jack. But there was a heavyweight contest that featured someone from Liverpool as well, Jack, and I know you were really into that one, so bring us on into the Tommy fight.
Another one where I was wrong about. So Tom came into the fight with 8 knockouts, 2 submissions. I thought he was going to try to prove a point, and I think he went out there looking to prove a point and grab another submission, but his hands were too powerful for himself. He got the first round knockout. I mean, what's next for Aspinall? I mean, it's got to be a top 10 opponent for sure. I think he is the future heavyweight champ in the UFC. I think we saw a couple future champions on this card. I think Jack Shore's another one. I think Aspinall has a little while to go. I say give him 3 years, and I think he will be the UFC champion. I'm not talking immediately. I see you shaking your head, Chris Mancuso. But no, I think it's a slow climb for Aspinall.
I've seen Francis Ngannou in person. And until I see someone in person, I'm not giving the heavyweight title to anybody except for Francis, because that was legitimately the scariest dude I've ever seen in my
Aspinall could take Francis to the ground, though. I really believe it. Would he get knocked out first if the fight were happen tomorrow? I would say so. Yeah. Give Aspinall some time, and I think he could take Francis down. And if he takes you down,
it's just
he can submit you.
There's
him as well, and he's young. So
and there's a lot of great matchups. You know, that's the thing, though. At number 13, he's sort of at the bottom of the heavyweight pool. When you look ahead just a couple spots, you get people like Augusto Sakai, Marcin Tybura. You know, those are really good tests for Aspinall moving forward that aren't massive steps up in skill, in my opinion, because, man, the thing about Tom that really surprises me every time he goes out there is how quick he is. It's something that's covered all the time, but, geez, lightning fast. And you saw Spivak didn't know what to do. Sergey's a durable guy. The polar bear, he doesn't call himself that because he gets knocked out in one punch. He is a durable fighter, but the speed and the precision, man. I mean, I do believe Tom Aspinall has a very, very bright future.
Yeah,
100%
absolutely.
finishing rate.
Yeah, he kept that alive, man. And I mean, he did it in absolute dramatic fashion. Speaking of dramatic fashion, Molly, the Meatball McCann fight of the night, Liverpool 50 G's. She came out like a rocket. See, I was reffing hockey because I'm from Canada, so naturally I think I'm legally obligated to do that. But I got in just as the main card started, so I went back and watched the fight. And from the word go, she was in there to get that 50 G's. Dana White had to be watching her and Paddy and just smiling, rubbing his greedy hands together. I could see more dollars coming into his pockets. The more the rounds went on in that fight. McCann, she's the real deal. Paddy Pimblett is the real deal too. But what a fight for her, and what a great moment too.
And what it is it really impressed me how she showed up, because there was a lot of pressure associated with this card. This one originally was supposed to be over in England with the home field advantage. Now that was moved, and Molly McCann was still able to overcome all of the pressure and really impress. I mean, the final seconds of that fight, her doing the Max Blessed Holloway point to the ground and then, steamrolling forward. It just, that as a fighter, as a fan, that's what you love to see. Those are the fighters that attract the attention and the love and support. And the bond that her and Paddy share and what's been obviously broadcast so much the last week and a half, it's so beautiful, right? It's a sentimental edge that you want to see as well.
The video when they went, when he was finished up her fight and she was in getting her picture taken and that, just how excited they were for each other. She went to war, went to war. And she comes out and she's like out there watching his fight at the Apex, which I got to say, guys, I'm down with the Apex, but I'd like to see that production value upped a little bit on walkouts and stuff. It's like COVID's over, guys. I loved it when COVID was on and that's all we had, but bump that production value up, Uncle Dana. Bust out the checkbook. It was a little bit bad. Speaking of bad,
hey, hold on. I didn't get my meatball.
You didn't get a bite of the meatball. Jack doesn't have a bite of the meatball.
Talk yet. Rumble, meatball, rumble. From the second that fight started to the closing bell, I was shocked by her cardio. I was really impressed. I didn't think that she had that in her. I know she's not well known for her cardio, and her boxing has improved drastically. I know that she's brought in a lot of different sparring partners. She's really leveled up, and it shows in the fight game. I think she's going to have some tough tests ahead of her. I'm skeptical on whether she can get to the top of that division, but it's going to be fun to watch because she is a completely different fighter than we last saw. She has improved tenfold, her boxing, her cardio, everything. And I'm pumped to see Molly McCann in there again.
Yeah, man. Hopefully, I hope they are able to get a card off in England, because that was electric. It was certainly awesome. Now, I want to go into the horrendous thing, though. Roundtree's finish the oblique kicks, guys. We all saw what happened. I've had 2 knee surgeries myself. I see that. I want to fucking vomit because I know what Bustakas is in for as far as recovery goes. Like, we're not going to see him for another year. Like,
Modestus is gone for a period of time. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll reiterate something that I touched bases with you boys about before the recording started is it is a legal maneuver, right? It is simply a part of the game. And Modestus himself tweeted out, he said, it was my job, my obligation to defend strikes like that. I could not let Khalil celebrate this victory. This was a do or die fight for Khalil Roundtree Jr.'s career. It was. You know, so he needed to get a big finish. He needed a big statement. And in my opinion, he made one. Really was able to put it all together. And for the people that obviously criticize it, once again, this is Bangkok ready Khalil. This is a guy with the high guard. He's lifting the lead leg. He's clearly emulating the Thai style. Of course he's going to throw the lead side kick to the lead leg. It's just part of his game plan these days. And you know what? You
got to counter that shit like Izzy, right, Jack? I think you said that to me.
Yeah, Izzy has found a great way to counter that oblique kick, and it is to step back, let the kick hit air, and come up and release a kick on your own to the jaw. I can't remember who he did it against. I want to say Brunson. Brunson just might be in my head. It might have been Whitaker.
It was Whitaker. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Bobby Knuckles. Yeah. Yeah. That was badass. That was badass. I don't know, man. I mean, you hate to see that stuff. You really do. But like you said, it's a part of the rule set. It's one of the many, many things you have to defend against in mixed martial arts, right? It's not just boxing. It's not kickboxing. Like, it's a mixed martial arts. You got to look for 8 different things at a time. And he got caught, and all the best. Like you said, his career was depending on that. So for him, that's good stuff. Jack Shore, guys, he was on the undercard. Like I said, reffing in Canada. I watched the fight back, but I want to hand it over to the boys that watched it live. Jack Shore has a future in this fucking organization, though.
Yeah. Woo! So I alluded to there being another future UFC champion on this card after I talked about Tom Aspinall, and who I was alluding to is Jack Shore. So we've seen him twice, I believe, in the UFC now. In both fights, I mean, he's just dominated. He didn't get a finish in this fight, and I think he was coming in there a little banged up. I know he was pretty hurt going into the fight, and I think that's why you saw him not be so aggressive. He had that opportunity in the first round where he did have the arm triangle, but he was against the cage, so he had to let it go. And I think he knew he was way ahead on the scorecards, so I don't think he was going to do anything risky or stupid. He just cruised to the finish, but it's time to get him a top 15 opponent for sure. His next fight has to be a top guy because he is going to run through anybody that's not ranked. It's not a fight. Get that guy a ranked fight. Let's get some interesting here because, honestly, I think he beats some of the lower-ranked guys in the UFC. Jack Shore is legit, and he could be a future champion.
Next fight has to be against someone ranked, right?
Mm-hmm. And, you know, 100%. You look at Rafael Sunso, number 12, Marab at number 11. Rob's booked, I believe. Dominic Cruz at number 10. Song Yadong at 15.
Oh, I love Song Yadong.
There's a lot of good matchups for him. And like you said, it's the complete cookie is Jack Shore. He's undefeated. He's a young guy. And he's just, even with the injury, I believe it was a hand injury. I think one of his hands was a bit compromised. And he still is able to do that. And in my opinion, I like to see fighters go through a full 15 where they're in control and they are really from post to post dominating as opposed to maybe a quick finish. Because you don't learn a ton from a quick finish. You learn that they can get guys out of there, sure. But you don't really see the full tool set of a fighter like you do in a full 15-minute war. And that's what Jack Shore got to display, which I loved seeing.
Yep. You got to be able to show that you can go into the trenches, go into the late rounds, keep that cardio up, man, because it's a goddamn dogfight in there. It's crazy. I want to talk about something, you know, Darren Till, no matter what side of the fence you sit on with Till, I mean, look at this guy has lost 4 of his last 5 fights. I mean, yes, they've been against great opponents at multiple weight classes, but at the end of the day, it's just not coming together for him. And listen, I know he's been with his team since he was like 15 years old. This guy's loyal to his team. I saw Kevin Holland reach out. I saw a bunch of people reach out and say, like, we will come train. Charles Oliveira. And, you know, you got to look. I know he posted the tweet with Oliveira, and he had Oliveira and who else in the tweet?
It was Michael Bisping, I believe. Yeah, the 2 champions later in their career. And that's the thing. He's a young kid. He's 28, I think. You know, it's tough to have
not
so much
too
pressure.
Late, but
I think he needs to take some serious time off, really work the fundamentals, because the problem that I'm seeing, and one of the issues that does exist when you are with the same camp for so long, is your evolution plateaus. It seemed like the same Till keeps showing up time and time again. I'm not seeing, massive improvements in specific areas. It's just a rangy 1-2 and a couple good elbows and knees. That just feels to be Till's game plan for the last couple years, and I think that he seriously needs to change it if he does want to capture that title. You think about Bisping, you think about Oliveira, more specifically Charles Oliveira. That guy has just blown up in terms of skill, right? Yeah. The wrestling, the grappling, the striking. Charles Oliveira is a new beast, new Bronx. Darren the Gorilla Till needs to emulate that kind of progression if he has success in either middleweight or if he wants to go down to 170 again for no reason. I mean, you just have to be complete.
I think he's going to take the help this time. I really
and if I'm the
I
UFC,
think he's going to go in and put the work in.
If I'm the UFC, I want to match up Till versus Holland. I want to throw a guy in there that will actually bang with him and will stand up with him, because you need to rebuild Darren Till now. I mean, the guy can promote a fight. He's so good on the mic. He's so good at selling the fights. You need to now give him an opponent where he has a winnable performance. And I think it would be Kevin Holland and him would trade.
Holland's been working though, dude.
I'm going to give you 3 fights. 3 fights, matchups at middleweight that I think are next for Darren Till. Uriah Primetime Hall at number 11, lost to Sean Strickland. Then his previous 2 were wins over Weidman and Silva, right? So Uriah Hall would be a great bounce-back performance.
Great bounce-back fight for Till.
Dig a bit deeper, Brendan Allen just behind him on a 2-fight win streak, submitting Carl Robinson and then beating Puna Soriano by decision. That's a great fight.
I don't like telling that.
But it's you know what, for me it's like Darren Till won in your last 5. Somebody else earns your spot. Somebody else has
But if he loses that one, he's going to Bellator, I think. I'm not trying to be rude, but if he loses that fight, he's going to Bellator. Like Dana will be done with him.
Mancuso, the third fight that I was going to suggest is definitely a Bellator send-off if he loses. Brad Tavares at number 17.
Oh yeah, you'd be going. I like Brad Tavares. All respect to Brad Tavares, but that would be you would pull the Monopoly card and it would be like, go to Bellator, go directly to Bellator, do not cross go, collect more money actually. So that's what the card would say.
I would say the X factor at middleweight for me is Edmund the Golden Boy Shabazian, another young guy, another younger prospect, but he's on a 2-fight skid to Jack and Derek Brunson himself. So I felt Brad Tavares, the guy's on a 2-fight win streak, 17, 19 and 6, well known in the UFC. To me, if they want to take Darren Till a step back from maybe that top 15, very legit, hardcore veterans of the UFC, and give him maybe an easier fight. To me, Brad Tavares is the guy that earns that spot.
Much more scared about Till's future after this conversation than I was before.
Jack's shaking now.
All the names were like, not a good idea. You know what? I don't want to shit on the guy while he's down. Legitimately, I want to see him do well because, like you said, Jack, he sells the fights. A people's favorite over in the UK, was supposed to be a golden boy, right? But never really has. He just hasn't panned out that way. But speaking of golden boys, One Championship has their golden boy back. One Revolution is coming up here, Jack, and that is going to be an amazing card.
You got Christian Lee sitting on top of the card. He's going to fight your boy Akre Yoon. That should be an absolute war. I honestly, truly believe that Christian Lee is in that conversation for top 5 lightweights in the world. I would love to see him get his chance to come over to the UFC in fight a Dustin Poirier, fight a Do Bronx, fight one of these top guys. I mean, the kid is only, 23 or 22 years old, and he's already beaten so many legends. The guy is unbelievable, and he's got that full mixed martial arts. He's got the striking. He can submit anyone. He almost reminds me of like a GSP-esque lightweight, because he can do it all. There's no weak aspect to Christian Lee's game. Whether striking, he's one of the best in the world. Grappling, he's one of the best in the world. He has those submissions to get you out of there. We haven't tested his cardio in a while now, but back in his old fights when he wasn't getting guys right out of there, he had great cardio. So I just don't think there's any flaws in Christian Lee's game.
There's a lot of questions about the range though, right? Bringing a guy like Christian Lee over would be phenomenal from a mixed martial arts perspective, but when you look at it from a business standpoint, there's a lot of questions. The Western audience still has yet to really, in my opinion, accept ONE FC and put stock in their promotion. Mancuso, I'll throw it up to you. I mean, how do you think that one can really enter the American, market and really have success here?
Yeah, one of the things that I know they're doing for sure, when I've spoken to some people near the organization, I know they put in that new president or a new operations manager, I believe, who used to be at Turner. And if you really want to enter the American market, well, first off, they have a different set of rules, right? That include knees to grounded opponents, right? That's always going to be a thing. They also have a different policy for weight cutting. You can't, you don't wobble out there on stage and pass out on the scale. That's not allowed. You got to be on weight. They do your hydration checks. I've heard also from some other sources that you can get around those hydration checks too, but that's a talk for another day. Listen, Colorado passed the rule set. It starts there. Now you got to get the American guy because they're really, I think they are going to try to do this here. They brought in that guy from Turner. When I saw that hire, I'm like, they're coming for the North America. I looked into him. He's been on promotions in the past, and I'm not going to give out too much about him, but there's definitely connections between him and Las Vegas. So if they can get that rule set passed in Las Vegas, the money behind that company, we all know is massive. Like they're not just an MMA organization. They're a mixed martial arts organization. They're a massive media entity with a backing and net worth of, more than the UFC, right? So it's all at the end of the day, when you start a business, if you can put millions and millions and millions of dollars into advertising and, they keep grabbing these good UFC guys that sell, and, it's going to come to a time where Dana keeps treating these guys like this. And if one championship's over there paying better, all it takes is a John Jones, a Nate Diaz after his contract's done, sign there or something. Yeah. All it takes is one. I'm not going to allude things to wrestling too much, professional wrestling, because I don't like to, but like that AEW is providing like a WCW level competition to WWE. People ain't afraid anymore. There was like after Vince McMahon won that war against WCW, it was like everybody kind of had their flex on. I will say one thing, one championship doesn't, like, I know that North America doesn't really accept them. Me and Jack talked to them about, because, they want to do a cross Grand Prix or champion versus champion card with the UFC, which benefits doesn't benefit the UFC though, right? Because if one FC guy knocks
if they win, that's
bad, right? But we suggested Bellator, and they're like, nah, like they don't, not even comparable. I know their numbers from the TNT series did better than Showtime's doing right now from Bellator. So I think if one comes over with the money they can put behind it, instantly they're number two.
Yep. Oh, instantly. I agree. And another thing that's going to be a huge selling point to the American audience is what you mentioned, Chris, in that it's a complete mixed martial arts organization. It's not just like MMA. They do have that Muay Thai, that kickboxing, and they have a bunch of great Americans over there. Jackie McCann, who fought on the last card, won Empower. She is going to sell in America. People are going to watch her fight, and they're going to be like, wow. As they say on the broadcast, it's just the good stuff. There's none of that wrestle bear. They're just standing up. They're striking elbows, knees, fists, face, everything. It's awesome.
Yeah. Fist and face is one of my favorite things about the sport, honestly. Just fist face. That's it.
God, the one guy who I wish ONE FC picked up, to be honest and upfront, and not to be controversial, but Chad Money Mendez, baby. Come on. That to me, him going to BKFC just felt like an interesting move. It didn't feel like the correct fit. I really felt if ONE FC wanted to be taken seriously in the American markets, right? Chad Mendez is a massive name. He is America through and through. The guy bleeds patriot. If you pick him up, put him against somebody, you know what I mean? I feel like it would be if I was in that position, that's exactly what I would have done. To be honest, not to be too controversial.
Another UFC lamb to slaughter. Eddie Alvarez hasn't done so hot over there. Demetrius Johnson, he lost the other day to Adrian Moraes. The UFC guys that have gone over have lost. Why is no one taking one championship seriously? What else do they have to do?
No, not only that, like Akrayun, like he's not to keep pissing off Eddie Alvarez, because we legit pissed off. Dude, we're in Vegas at a bar and Eddie Alvarez's manager's there, and all of a sudden we have that conversation about starting shit because Christian Lee just shit on him on our podcast. Like, what he was doing it on purpose too. Like Christian Lee, everyone's like, oh, he's so graceful, he's this and that. Like, you can't tell me, Jack, when he was sitting there and he called him 1-3 instead of 1-2-1 because of the no contest, he didn't have a shit-eating grin on his face. Like he knew exactly what he was doing, and I get it. But not to keep shitting on Eddie Alvarez, but Akrayun made like mincemeat of him a week after beating that Gafarov, who's number 5 in their division. Like, dude, they're finding these guys from like South Korea and China, and they're like real martial artists. These guys, like, dude, I know Jack thinks that Christian Lee's going to beat Akrayun in round 1. I think it's going to go into the championship rounds. I think he wins in about round 4, but I think Ak can do it. Jack thinks Jack.
4 seconds. He's coming over. Just gone. He's out of there. Ak's dead.
Yeah.
Christian Lee's so good.
Knee. Oh, he's so good, dude. You know me. I love the guy. I was lucky enough to sit down and talk with him. And, but then again, he did just become a father. He's been off for a while. I'm a dad. I'm soft now, guys. I'm super soft. Like, you get your kids.
See how soft Christian is. See how soft your chin is.
No, I know. Fucking that Christ. Akrayun's amazing, though. I love that dude. And then, like you said, they're more than just one championship. The thing that I love, they're more than just like an MMA organization. They have their bantamweight kickboxing world championship on the line, and then their strawweight world championship is on the line as well. So it's just a huge card. But getting Christian Lee back is awesome. But the thing, like you said, for one championship to really break into North America, it just started with one state getting the rule set agreed, because now they can go and be like, well, Colorado did it, and this is why they did it, and this reason, and they can go. And dude, they have their analytics too. But one thing I'll say that I saw, it isn't, I don't know if it's out, but I find things from people at ONE FC, like fighters and stuff. I talk to them because we're one of the few North American people that really pump the time into it. And their finishing rate for last year compared to the UFC, like UFC's finishing rate was like 52% of fights were finished, or maybe even something lower. Sure. One championships is like 70% or something like that.
I think
like hovering around. It's like 74, isn't it? Isn't it like 74%?
Yeah, I think it was it was closer to 74. In the UFC's was much lower.
Yeah, I don't remember what theirs was. I remember we were told the information from someone, and I was like, they're going to drop it out, right? They'll have all the analytics for it. But dude, their product is good. And if they put the money behind it, it's just all about getting the rule set passed, right?
And that's, that's history repeating itself to some extent, because it really was not too long ago that the UFC was struggling with this same exact thing, right? UFC 205 at Madison Square Garden. That was the first mixed martial arts event in New York, I believe. It was legalized, and then they were able to do it there. So it was not long ago. I don't know why people pretend that the UFC and mixed martial arts has been adopted for years. It really hasn't,
dude.
So,
dude, I'm in Ontario. We didn't have our first legal MMA card was UFC 129 Jake Shields versus GSP. First time there was ever MMA in Ontario in 2011. You could train it and do it in the gyms for like exercise, but that was it. 2011 was it's only been 10 years.
Now
it's brand new. Like, every company's going to have to go through this stuff, man. It's a relatively new sport.
I do want to ask a question, though, to both of you, right? You talk about one coming over and being the number 2 guy in terms of ratings in the TV realm, but Combate Global is doing a pretty good job with viewership. Campbell McLaren, of course, UFC co-founder, has been lighting it up per his own metrics, of course, that he's been pushing out there. It seems pretty legit. I mean, they seem to be doing a phenomenal job as well.
Listen, dude, fight fans like fighting. Dude, we've done, how we had the dude, Ongla and Song fought on one of the last ONE FC streams that we did. We did like 52,000 people, bro. Like there's interest, man. I don't know. It's
bleed. It's the just bleed, baby. Just fight.
You just gotta do it, man. You just gotta do it in life. Like, dude, there's Starbucks and there's Dunkin' Donuts, there's Tim Hortons. Everybody can coexist. Everybody's got their own market.
And I think Combate's roster is a little underrated. When you look at their prospects that they have fighting over there, they are really talented. They don't get the same promotion as, like, the UFC, Bellator, or ONE Championship. But if you go over there, it is a great product.
It just takes one dude with a ton of money and marketing, dude. And to be honest, fight fans love fighting. Like, fight fans, the real deep fight fans, they're going to watch Combate, dude. Like, we have guys on our writing staff that, like, love LFA, like love LFA, like
yeah.
like,
I mean,
dude,
LFA
love
and
LFA,
Combate
like,
both have great rosters. They really
yeah,
do.
dude. I mean, but they're hardcore for it too. Like Joe Gravel, I think he watches fighting every day. Like I think he would watch a parking lot fight at Kmart if they had 4-ounce gloves. I think he would watch that and live tweet it. Like the guy just fucking loves the sport. He lives and breathes it. And that's what's awesome about it. And that's why I fuck with MMA so much. Like I love the sport, but like the community's awesome. It's one of the last places you can actually be in sports and still like be yourself and, you know, enjoy life and not be, you know, subject to like, you know, not like wokeness. I don't like that word, but you know what I mean? Like,
they're there for the game. There's a lot of focus purely on the action and not necessarily the extra.
The extra stuff is just whatever. Yeah, exactly. People are free to say whatever. Like if Sean Strickland wants to insinuate that if there was no laws, he would eat Dylan Dennis, you know, whatever. Like he can cannibal him, like in verbal, right? He's free to say that.
I love Sean Strickland.
Yeah, dude, he's insane. Crazy. That guy literally, I'm convinced that he's killed someone already. You know, he's talking about it all the time, but I'm pretty sure that someone is dead and it's because of Sean Strickland.
Last time I defended Sean Strickland on Twitter, I got put in Twitter jail.
Twitter's like, hey, no, you can't. This is the hill that you can't die on. We don't want you back in this
guy. Jack said whoever doesn't support Sean Strickland can sit on a cactus and spin. And dude, he got banned for like 24 hours or something like that for promoting self-harm or suicide.
Yep.
Oh my God. Because Twitter really thinks that you're going to go sit on a cactus and spin around on it. Of course. Yeah. People do that.
I don't think that would kill you.
It would just hurt. Yeah. It would just be a really tough night at the ER.
Not if your jacket wouldn't, but moving on here, guys, you hate to see it. A little segment we got here, Jack. We kind of thought of this segment, you know, just things that we hate to see, Jack. So let's start it off. Speaking of one, let's keep that train, Jack, rolling here. Keep the train going to the station. What did you hate to see this week?
So went into the One Championship press conference post-fight, One in Power. Sohee Ham, I asked about the controversial decision between her and Denise Zomba-Wanga, and she basically told me that it wasn't controversial and to go learn the rules. That fight is now being reviewed, and they're thinking of turning over the decision to Denise. So hate to see it.
Hate to see it, man.
You hate to see that. She told you and 3 other people learn the rules. I was like, Chatri even chimed in and said it was horrible, and he never says anything. Like when Chatri says it's bad, like it's going up for review. Like when Eddie got disqualified, right? They went up, no contest, bing, bang, boom. Bane, what do you hate to see this week? You just hate to see it, guys.
Man, there's 2 things I hate to see. First and foremost was someone accrediting Derek Brunson as the top 3 wrestler in the UFC right now, and I think it's difficult to say that when Darren Till literally has no takedown defense, apparently. Hate to see people just hyping up, right? That's what happens, right? After a fighter is victorious, it just immediately they're godlike level. So I hated to see that, but the other thing I hate to see, and something we talked about, big shout out to my man, Heavyweight Thanos on Twitter. It seems that every time he singularly tweets out about a fighter, they will lose. It is inevitable. If you are betting, just look at his account and do the opposite. It's another thing I hate to see, boys.
Dude.
You'd be a millionaire. You would be a millionaire.
Yeah, I wouldn't be even doing this podcast if we were fading that guy.
If we were just going
it's actually, dude. I think Jack. I think you might have said this earlier. Like, it's almost as impressive to go 0-70 as it is to go 70-0.
It's incredibly impressive.
It's just a miss every time. Like, it's not even like there's one win in between.
It's like he knows something. It's like he knows what's going to happen. And to JDP's credit, man, he did predict every other fight on the main card correct. He did chime in. He was like, I was right on all of them except for the one that he tweeted out. So it's like he's jinxing himself almost. But
yeah, he's definitely like there might be an actual curse on there, and that is something that you hate to see. Now, hate to see it. You know, there's a lot of things in the MMA world I hate to see. I loved seeing Paddy Pimblett make his debut, but I'm going to have to go against MMA Twitter. Marcel, I saw Paddy the Baddy fight in Vegas. It didn't look like there was any visa issues. It's not Paddy the Baddy's fault he called that kid out. It's not his fault. The kid left the tweet up there. He decided that he cared more about the statistics, and that's fine. But to sit there, I mean, man, when I first saw people tweeting about it, I think it was one of our own guys from the website. There was like a black and white photo of Marcel, and it's like, we need to be powerful. I thought someone died. All that happened was Paddy Pimblett said, "Why didn't you confirm it with me, you twat," or something like that. Like, oh my God, it's not that bad.
You know, Mancuso, I'm gonna go against you.
And he
hold on a second. No, hold on a second.
You hate to see it.
Marcel's a good guy. He's a good guy. He made a mistake. You know, he knew what he was doing. Okay,
he knew what he was doing.
I respect that he didn't, like a coward, delete it. He left it up like a man, so everyone can see his mistake. Now
he left it up like a man for the stats, and I like that. I like that. But he's not a victim. His life is better.
There was a storyline that was put out there that Paddy Pimblett was having some certain visa issues. Luigi Vendramini gets a new opponent, potentially. A lot of behind-the-scenes shit. Did Marcel go to market way too soon with that news? Absolutely. But this is the singular error that Marcel's made in a very long time. Maybe he should have deleted it. That's a question for it. That's a whole nother argument. But in this one instance, I think Marcel did a decent job. I was a little bit disappointed in Paddy's response. Now, this is somewhat old news, but look, Paddy is a large figure, and he's now, hold on a second, boys. Now, hold on a second. Wait a second. Wait a moment. I think that as a figure like he is, to go back and forth with so many people and argue with so many people, it's not necessary. It's not necessary, Paddy. You know, and to say some of the things that he said to people, I'm like, Paddy, come on, man.
No. If you're being harassed by false information on the internet, and all these people are calling you a pullout like machine and shitting all over you because some doofus made a fake tweet that he won't delete. Like, wouldn't you be upset?
The only thing you can control is your reaction. Paddy cannot control Marcel fucking up, but Paddy can control.
But Marcel could delete it so Paddy could stop getting fucking harassed.
I'm sure Marcel would have if it didn't turn into World War III. I'm sure.
Okay, but here's my last.
A little bit less hostile.
Here's my last point. Before last night, and we'll see where Paddy goes because he did blow up. Paddy will answer a guy with 1 follower or 40,000 followers. Like, that guy easily could have went to Paddy and said, "Hey, I got this news. Can you confirm?" And Paddy could have been like, "No, don't fucking put that out there." He just got the news. Like, you know, he ran with it before realizing somebody was offside. But my thing is like the reaction after to like, yeah, Paddy went nuts and stuff. Like, obviously he was all stressed out about that situation because there was an actual situation. It just wasn't as far as Marcel led it on to be.
Right.
And like, I get where he would have been emotionally charged, but it was just like everyone acting like some huge misjustice had been done while the tweet was still sitting there up. Didn't like it. Paddy the Baddy shows up. Hate to see it.
One more thing. I just feels, you know, it's like, look, Paddy, you're making your UFC debut.
I do, but he was in the wrong big time.
Definitely everybody was a bit in the wrong. Marcel probably more than most, but you do hate to see that entire situation.
I had to bring it up for Paddy. Man, that's so funny. Well, hate to see it's going to definitely bring on some interesting topics here on the Morning Monday MMA. Guys, what anything else we got to add before we go here? Are we free to go? Are we out of the office?
Over the Derek Brunson topic, so I do want to ask who we think Derek Brunson will be fighting next.
I was about to say, we totally just glazed over.
We just blew past Derek Brunson.
Who's Derek Brunson? Wait a minute.
We just didn't even talk about
Wait a minute. Wasn't that Cisco who beat Darren Till? No, I'm just joking because he had the hair. I remember I said, I was like, that's the thong song. Thong. I loved his hair, dude. Derek Brunson. He has changed his style dramatically. Listen, it's not the most exciting style, but it is damn effective. I'm not ready to call him a top 5 wrestler in the UFC. Yeah. I'm not ready to. But what I will say is he's much improved, and he's a whole different problem than he might have posed before.
You know, I have to completely agree. You know, Derek Brunson going blonde, that is the only thing that he changed clearly. And it just has, it is really crazy to see the evolution. I think on the feet, striking department, Brunson still is a step behind and will get starched bad in a rematch with Adesanya. I think a lot of those good strikers up the top make easy work. But Jared Cannonier, in my opinion, runs through Derek Brunson. Paulo Costa with the volume and the power punching, it's a big problem for Brunson. But I'm not going to count Derek out because, to be honest, I picked against him on 2 other occasions, Edmund Shabazian and Kevin Holland, and he made me eat my words. So with this fight, I picked Derek Brunson in a big way, and I have never been happier to see someone gain control time. I'll tell you what, it is not the most exciting from a perspective of just viewing it surface level, but when you know the story and you know, Derek fighting these prospects and basically getting fed to the wolves and then just ground and pounding and suffocating. I'm a huge fan of his style.
Yeah, me too. It's like he graduated from WrestleBear University. Like, he's doing well.
Yes, 100%. And I think this version of Derek Brunson, if it were to fight the Israel Adesanya he fought back then, it would beat that Israel Adesanya. The only issue is Israel Adesanya has evolved too. I do think Derek Brunson gets absolutely pieced up if he fights Israel Adesanya.
Quick question. As we keep bringing up Adesanya, is there anyone at 185 for him at all?
It's tough. I don't think so. I want Whitaker to win in the rematch, but, you know, it's difficult for me to say that because, you know, while Robbie's put together some really good performances, looked very clean against Kelvin Gastelum. Yep. That was against Kelvin Gastelum. You know what I mean? Like, everybody
Till even beat him. No, I'm joking.
So I think that Adesanya really needs to maybe get a couple more defenses against these people, feel more comfortable letting loose. It seemed like he was hesitant a bit against Vettori. You know, it did seem a little bit heavy-footed, flat-footed, not really making as much success as I would have anticipated he was going to have against Marvin Vettori. So maybe, you know, shore everything up and then make a better transition up a weight class. In my opinion, that's what he is going to do. Because imagine Adesanya bulked up like John Jones is doing for heavyweight, but to light heavyweight. I don't know. I think that he really steamrolls a lot at 205.
We'll have to see.
I don't think he wins a strap there, but there'll be more interesting fights for sure.
What made you think that, Jack?
The fact that Jan absolutely ate him.
It wasn't close. That's what I mean. It's like, I don't think he can't be a champion up there. I think he would roll the whole division like outside of him, but you're not John Jones, but I mean, like, you know, anyone else other than Jan and John Jones. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think he's just going to kind of do what Christian Lee's going to have to do in his division and 1 championship. And that's just beat all the guys again and then go maybe back up and try again or something like that. But guys, that's all the time we have for this morning. We got to get our day going. It's Monday morning. Everybody look in the mirror, flex, big flex. Flex for my dogs. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Tarps Off Sports. I'm Chris Mancuso, the Bane. Tell them where they can catch you.
At the Bane's MMA is where I operate typically esports commentary. Be sure to tune in to ESFL 123 this weekend. Champ making the defense.
Robin Black going to be there, or is it just you?
It'll be me and I believe Balin and Bruce Lee Rob potentially. So Robin Black he'll be back though.
I love it. Yeah, Jack, you got anything to say before we go?
You look like you were